Welcome, everybody. I'm Lisa Carnell, the Program Scientist for Translational Research in the Biological and Physical Sciences Division. Welcome, everyone, to day 2 of the Lunar Surface Science Workshop for Fundamental Sciences and Applied Lunar Surface Research in Physical Sciences. We had a really great day yesterday, and we received valuable input from the science community through the breakout sessions and the discussions. Right now, I'm going to get started by going over the agenda, our goals and expectations of the workshop. Again, as Ricky just mentioned, I'd like to remind everyone, please mute your mics and turn off your videos unless you are speaking. Will help save with bandwidth for the number of attendees that we have. All questions are going to be taken by chat. So if you do have a question, please enter it into the chat. We will try to address those during the discussion sessions. If we do not have time after a talk, the speaker has an opportunity to go into the chat and address your question at that time. Recordings of these sessions are going to be made available after the meeting ends. Okay, next slide, please. So, the purpose of our workshop right now is to, we want to educate and inform the science community, the engineering, commercial communities, and discuss some of the NASA lunar physical science and exploration activities that can and plan to be taking place. We're going to do this by through the plenary sessions, abstract talks, and pre-recorded poster presentations. That link has also been provided in the chat if you'd like to go see any of the posters before or after the workshop. We also plan to engage the science communities so that we can get your input about what lunar surface research you believe we should be conducting on future lunar missions. So we really encourage your participation and feedback. We also wanted to advance the science community's knowledge and provide information that would allow you to support the activities that are coming for the National Academies of Science Decadal Review. Next slide, please. Somebody has a hot mic. Okay, and for the workshop, we have 3 key objectives, and this isn't the entirety of it, but 3 focus areas that we wanted to really hone in on. We were hoping that you could help us identify the top priority physical sciences knowledge gaps and research topics that must be conducted on the moon or in cislunar orbit. And that's so that we can enable sustained lunar habitation and future Mars missions. And then we'd also like to learn what you believe the meaningful science is that could be conducted on the moon, given its unique environment. And then we'd also like to dive into what you think the key technologies, technical capabilities, and resources are needed to conduct physical sciences research on the moon. Next slide, please. So we heard some interesting talks yesterday, and today's lineup is going to be just as engaging. To start off with, I'm very pleased to let you know that we have an incredible plenary session planned for you, including a keynote by former NASA astronaut Harrison Schmitt. We'll have a talk on lunar dust considerations on the Apollo missions, and we'll have discussions on the lunar geology, mapping of the surface, how we can acquire and use resources on the moon, and plans for payloads going to the lunar surface to conduct science. Next slide, please. So just a quick rundown for the rest of the day. We will be running 3 concurrent sessions. The first concurrent session will be on lunar dust, properties, behavior, and mitigation. This session is going to continue throughout the day, and it will not have a breakout session, but will be followed by a lengthy question and answer discussion period. So the afternoon session on lunar dust behavior mitigation continues and concludes with a discussion on previous dust and plasma decadal white paper workshops. Next slide, please. So Concurrent session 2 is lunar research and extraction, processing, and handling. Next slide, please. And concurrent session 3 will be on lunar environment and its effects on materials. And these are going to delve into some of the unique platforms that we can use as stepping stones. Next slide, please. And this concurrent session 3, will be immediately followed by extraction of water ice from regolith research, including separation, purification, electrolysis, and liquefaction. Next slide, please. So the afternoon is going to consist of 2 breakout sessions, similar to what we had yesterday, where we would like your engagement and discussion on 3 of the main topics that we had in the earlier sessions, grouped around those questions that I identified earlier. We are really open to your feedback, and we're taking notes to produce a white paper following the workshop. Okay, next slide, please. Just a reminder, all of these talks, the plenary and abstract talks, are going to be available online about a week after the workshop ends, however long it takes to get those together. The link is provided here, and it's also in the chat if you'd like to take a look at that and take note for accessing it in the future. The next slide, please. And as a reminder, pre-recorded poster presentations are available right now online. You can look at this at your leisure. And this poster presentation site, I think yesterday I said it would be open for 2 weeks, and what I learned is that it will be open indefinitely. So please feel free to go and take a look at those posters, some really great information in those as well. And that link is also posted in the chat if you'd like to download it from there. Next slide, please. And of course, you know, it wouldn't be possible to have this workshop without so many people that we need to thank, including our plenary speakers, abstract speakers, all of the folks that submitted poster presentations. We had an incredible workshop team, including the Lunar Surface Science Working Group, Lunar Planetary Institute, SRA, Survey, breakout session chairs, facilitators, and slide drivers all made this possible. And of course, this wouldn't have happened if it weren't for you, the attendees of the Physical Sciences Lunar Surface Science Workshop.